Good morning. Software development is done wrong, and here's why. This is me, Cliff Collins, BS Computer Science, University of Houston. Worked on just about every machine, every compiler, just about every type of project. Software is done wrong, so we'll look at the list. We start with our hardware design. It's designed under a fixed number of bits. It does mathematics. Compares, jumps, things like that. Basically all fixed number of bits that we work off of. This is wrong. We can't add. Not really. We can't add two numbers. You give me two numbers, I can add them. Give it to the computer. These 8 bits or 16, we only have 4 ranges. 128 and 512 and so on. Registers. But for now we're barely being able to do 64-bit mathematics. Mainly humans in the loop. Faulty memory. We can't memorize millions of facts. We don't know when we program what's going on. We can't remember how to do a substring in all the different languages. Goes on and on. Binary data structures. These are not application independent. Means that only one application, one piece of source code can ever access that information. Period. There's nothing we can do about that. Not with binary data structures. We could still have binary data structures. I'm talking about DLLs and AutoCAD files, DWGs and DGNs and Centercom and Oracle and Access and Excel. Yeah, I know they put it in XML, but that's even worse. We need application independent data structures, meaning with a few bytes of information in a DLL, I can make that application independent. And with these binary data structures, we don't really have access to most of our major information. All of our images, videos, fonts, DLLs, objects, 99% of our information is stored in binary data structures, but we can't get them. Only one application can. Compilers. They only get the hardware to do something. They go back, okay, we have these 6 basic operations, opcodes. You take all the variations of all the fixed number bits. It's close to 6,000 opcodes or something. 32, I don't remember how many opcodes in the latest compilers. And we have a lot of instructions that we can't get to because the compilers haven't accessed the hardware properly. And that happened all the time. Tower of Babel. Too many chefs. Every programmer wants to do it differently. I don't care who you are. It's like go into somebody's kitchen and try and find their silverware. You can't do it. You don't know where it's at. You don't know how somebody, you only have, 6 drawers, and you can pretty much leave the bottom ones out. We can make some assumptions, but I guarantee you I'm not going to find them right away and talk about all the other utensils. They may not even have them. I may be there for 2 days. Separation of logic. This is the way we write our code right now. This definitely does not work. For one, we have humans in there that know some of the information when they write the code. Units. We don't have units in our code or in our data or in anything. So, and we don't have fractions and other things. So humans are saying when I do this division, that's really a fraction, but because of our fixed, anyway, I won't get into teaching computer science. And then we have our source code. So we have the human with some knowledge. The source code has other knowledge, okay, about what the data is. We have our data, but it knows nothing. It doesn't even know its own structure. So you could have 1 byte out there or 100 bytes, but only one piece of source code actually knows what that data represents. Therefore, none of our applications work together, period. We have billions of. So we separate our basic application of adding 2 numbers in 4 different places. the human source code data, and then all of our dependencies. That any one of these changes or forgets, or the human will forget. And it's forever changing. If it's forever changing, it's never complete. I want to add 2 numbers. How many variations of adding numbers have we gone through? We had 8 bits, and then 16, and 32, and 64, and 128, and 512, and it's constantly going to change. But if we went to variable length, it would never change. We wouldn't have to be changing. We have millions of versions of things. Stealing. Companies steal your information. They build these binary data structures, and they won't give them to you. They could. Take them 5 minutes to do it. They wrote the code. They have the code. We don't. So I don't know of any company out there. Look at all these CNC machines and all these Access and Oracle and DLLs and whatever fonts. We can't even build our own fonts. I mean, we're stuck with 107 stupid characters. Profit. Taking things out. Keeping versioning alive. I just reloaded Windows 10, and my other system crashed, and I found out, I had Outlook, and it quit. I used to be able to type in who's it going to, and now I got to go in and find them. It doesn't do that anymore. I don't know why. My taskbar, I have Visual Studio, and it used to, when I click on it, right click on it, it would let me select one of my last projects. It would show 3 or 4 or 5 of my last projects that I opened. It doesn't do that anymore. Everything's changing. Failures. Humans are unable to manage software development. There's just too many things going on. It's up to us trying to remember how we wrote our own code. We'll let the computer do this. This is what computers do. They manage information. But logic is just information. Whether I use an ADD or a plus sign or it's not up to me to try and remember all the variations that our Tower of Babel have put in front of me. I got to learn 20,000 languages just to do my job. Security. This is a total failure, in my eyes anyway. It's done by somebody else, so I have no idea what they've done. Not really. Don't know if I'm setting something that will let somebody through. We need absolute security at the software and at the hardware level. This can be done. There is no doubt about that in my mind. People say, "Oh, you can't." Yes, you can. I'm sorry, but those guys are idiots. Jane, this is my system. This is what I've been working on the last 10 years, unfortunately by myself. so it's going a little slower than I want. Basically, I want to fix all the problems. Have application independent data, variable length binary structures, knowledgeable. Here's 8 bits. What are those? And then I have the hardware. Oh, that's a number, or that's a boolean, or that's an address, whatever it is. I want to fix all those problems. Remove the human from the loop. I want to help humanity. Basically, we're wasting a whole hell of a lot of time trying to write software. I went to Microsoft the other day, and they said, or a couple of years ago, I guess, and I went up there to volunteer to teach at colleges high schools, just before the Corona thing happened. And I went up there initially, and they said, "Okay, well, who you here to see?" And they said, "Well, type it in." I said, "Okay." I typed it in. Luckily, it was a simple name, Jane Doe or something like that. It says, "Cannot find it." I'm saying, what? It was case sensitive. Here I am, standing up, trying to type at a keyboard. I mean, this is our failure in software. We can get rid of programmers. We don't really need them. Not if we let the computer do it. We can get people just doing their jobs. think 99% of everybody's job now is how to get this stupid program to work, this application. And we all do it a different way. So all that context has to be adjustable per person. Anyway, we need to get people doing their jobs. If they're not doing programming, they're going to be doing their jobs. All these research scientists that want to work with chemicals, all that knowledge is, we can put all that knowledge that everybody knows into the system. We have an infinite amount of space. I mean, when I can buy a 2 terabyte drive for $45 or something, I couldn't fill that up in my lifetime trying to type. Software at minimum or no cost. I mean, if we do what I want to do, it's automatic. It's done once. It might take me another 10 years, but I could do it by myself. But once done, nobody. You want a new air traffic control system? Fine. It's customizable to every type of airport that's ever made or ever conceivably made. It maintains itself. It allows changes to everything. It allows testing of every line of code internally by itself without the human involved. And we get back to absolute rights to your hardware and information. This is, to me, the most important. People are selling you cars now you can't even control. Oh, you want to turn on your seats? You paid for the seat. I'm sorry, but you paid for that seat, and they won't let you turn it on unless you give more money. Put a dang switch in there. And information. Look, you're creating this information, and yet you don't own it. Oh, and other people have access to it. No. Look, I'm doing a phone call. That voice is mine. If I were talking out here, I would not want you to hear it or able to hear it. The information, all the information you create is yours. You need complete access to it. This John Deere, you can't get to the hardware. I'm sorry, you just bought a $500,000 piece of equipment and you can't get it to do what you want it to do. Anyway, we need that. Get rid of versioning. It's done once, complete, absolute. Never need to change. We can change anything. We can add more qualifiers and more options. That's not what I'm saying. I want to add 2 numbers. If I do that perfectly, and I'm convinced that it's perfect for all applications, this is what we need to go for, then there would never be versioning. Immediate new applications. Self-driving cars. We only have one. Anyway, the system would be able to create. It would know all the terms that it's going to deal with. So if I say graphics, it would know all the capabilities of all graphics, 2, 3, 4 dimensional images, videos. We know, and we program in all the realistic software logic for every term. We would have immediate new applications, not taking 20 years to build a new application that's never perfect or obsolete. Even worse, I worked on the Brazilian rainforest, and that project was, $200 million or something, and that was obsolete before we finished. Get humans out of the software development. They can't do it. I can't do it. I've been programming for 47 years. I don't know how. It's been over a day, put it that way. My job is to write software, and I hate it. I hate getting in there, having to do the same thing I did day one I started programming. I'm still doing it. It still takes way too much time. Well, talk about time. Thank you for yours. Goodbye now. Until next time.